Estelin then told us about the Bilderberg Group's concern that the American people are awakening to their attempt to use the third world populations as a battering ram to accelerate North American integration and the end of the United States.
One of the things that happened last year, there was a lot of talk about the Patriot movement in America. They're very worried about the Patriot movement in America in 2005. That's one of the subjects that we're discussing. We saw last year how a very small but very determined population base could put an end, literally stop dead in their tracks all the illegal immigrants coming through. They did not make the Bilderbergs very, very happy.
America is being sacrificed on the altar of globalism. The United States must fall before the New World Order can rise.
Univisión va a ser transmitido internacionalmente. Lo van a estar viendo en vivo desde allá, desde las gentecitas bonitas que nos acompañan en México. Los que quieran mandar saludos a Univisión, a sus mujeres, ahí va a estar el canal Univisión.
You know, this used to be Mexico, you know what I mean? And the people that were here before, they're just not going to get up and leave.
Mexico! 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 Arriba Mexico!
The globalists are using a divide-and-conquer strategy to balkanize the United States.
You know, they cause all this exploitation across the globe, and they wonder why people come to America. You know?
So is your argument that NAFTA and CAFTA are designed to increase illegal immigration?
It's not designed... Well, you know what? You might have a point there.
While the controlled corporate media teaches Americans that pro-U.S. nationalism is backwards and xenophobic, the very same media is busy teaching Mexicans that ultra-extreme race-based nationalism is good and part of their culture. The federal government, tax-free foundations, and the Fortune 500 have pumped more than $800 billion into a long-term strategic plan to export Latin American revolution into the United States. The elite are rolling out the red carpet to the third world because the United States must be divided before it can be absorbed into the North American Union, itself to form the first piece of the Pan-American Union. The New World Order's social engineering has done a masterful job at exploiting historical divisions between the U.S. and Mexico. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, Spanish-speaking media drills it into their audiences' heads that the Southwest, from California to Texas, once belonged to Mexico, and that the United States stole it in 1848 with the signing of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. Every child in Mexico is taught from birth and officially in school that the United States is the arch enemy of Mexico and that it is their job to travel to the United States to take part in a reconquering or la reconquista of the United States. It is a historical fact that Mexico was born out of hardcore corruption and is still one of the most oppressive nations on earth. Mexico has the greatest concentration of wealth per capita in the world, but Mexico's tiny elite rules over one of the poorest and most oppressed populations on earth. The corrupt elite of Mexico tell their enslaved population that all of their problems are caused by the United States. Mexico also uses the United States as a steam valve against internal revolution by exporting their angry masses to the north. The Mexican people did not gain freedom with independence from Spain. From 1822 to 1836, Mexico was ruled by more than 10 dictators, calling themselves everything from the Emperor of Mexico to the King of the Americas. In 1 year alone, Mexico had 6 different masters. Completely bankrupt, Mexico could not maintain the few tiny forts and missions that guarded their northern realm. States were in continual rebellion across the collapsing empire. After Texans gained independence by defeating Santa Anna, things quieted down until April 24, 1846, when a Mexican cavalry force of 2,000 launched a sneak attack, wiping out a 63-man U.S. force patrolling the border. Mexican troops continued their assault deeper into U.S. territory for several months until they were turned back by U.S. forces, which then launched a lengthy campaign ending with the capture of Mexico City on September 15, 1847. The historical truth is incontrovertible. The West was won by the United States. England, Russia, Mexico, France all laid claim to the West at one time or another, but none could hold it. Even the native tribes warred with each other for the land. In the 21st century, the architects of the New World Order are using cheap slave goods and oceans of third world migrants to overrun the United States. The irony is staggering when you realize that the same oligarchs that have wrecked the third world are now framing the United States for their crimes and using the rightfully enraged mob as a weapon of conquest. The guest worker amnesty plan being pushed is nothing more than a North American Union standardized ID card that erases all three nations' sovereignties. Spanish-speaking TV, radio, and print is literally on fire with talk of revolution, with many stations bearing the name La Invasora, or The Invader. More than 600 billboards were purchased in Los Angeles alone, proclaiming that LA is now part of Mexico. If you really think about it, it's perfect for the elite. Americans who don't speak Spanish are unaware of what's going on, so the corporate control revolution can build in semi-secrecy. Most of the media outlets spewing the slogan, Viva la Raza, which translated means long live the race, are owned by New York and London-based companies that are cold-bloodedly pushing the breakup of the United States. We have discovered a national trend where government is demonstrating a clear double standard in their treatment of citizens versus illegal aliens. Citizens are arrested if they don't have insurance or driver's license. Illegals are not. Illegal aliens don't have to have a valid form of identification to set up a bank account or get a car loan, while citizens do. The government also subsidizes the illegals via welfare at taxpayer expense. This is not done to help the illegals, but to subsidize the large corporations that employ them in an ongoing war against the middle class. But selective enforcement got even worse in Seattle, Washington. Tens of thousands of demonstrators took to the streets, demanding amnesty for 30 million illegal aliens, despite the fact that many of them were undocumented. They were afforded the First Amendment right to speech and expression. Apparently, taking over downtown Seattle, Washington, while waving Mexican flags and screaming La Raza was not enough for them. Of course, in Mexico, most demonstrations are broken up by the parasitic police force firing machine guns into crowds, killing people. But that didn't stop them from demanding the police physically stop an American citizen from engaging in his own silent protest. Josh Moore shot this video on a small still camera while riding his motorcycle and was stuck in traffic for more than an hour due to the protest. The police did not arrest a protester who assaulted the driver through his sunroof as the crowd cheered. Nor did they stop the protesters as they bashed out his window and kneed, punched, and kicked his car in plain view of the police. A plainclothes police officer then gave uniformed police the order to arrest the citizen, who had since complied with the officer's directive to suppress his First Amendment rights. The commanding officer claps and cheers along with the predominantly foreign mob as the citizen is arrested. I wonder if the plainclothes detective knows that siding with foreigners while arresting a citizen for their political speech is treason. The man is clearly not resisting, but the Seattle police are determined to teach him that free speech is only reserved for servants and dupes of the New World Order. They said by the time they took him away, there was a huge pool of blood on the ground. The police slammed his face with full force into the concrete. The officer then grunted with exertion and drove his face forward over the street with sadistic pleasure. The plainclothes officer then allows the protesters to pose with their bleeding trophy, while the man that originally assaulted the American citizen through the sunroof cheers and says,
Hey, what's it like now, bitch?
"Now you're bleeding. Now you're bleeding, punk. What's it like, bitch?" We later learned that the Seattle police had filled paddy wagons that day with American citizens who had tried to peacefully picket the event. When the then president of Mexico, Vicente Fox, came to Austin, Texas in 2003, the police did their job and protected free speech, unlike the traitors in Seattle. The leader of the narco-terrorist state was traveling throughout the U.S. and being welcomed at every stop by governors and mayors. Fox was in Austin ostensibly to give an award to the Austin Police Department for breaking federal law and not arresting illegal aliens. Mexican Secret Service attempted to boss the media around, but backed off when they realized that this country still had some freedom.
We can do that. It blows all our cameras off. Yeah. We're going to have to take this out. So what is it? What do you think? He's going to go check. It'd be good if you can angle it that way.
Fox was scheduled to spew his propaganda and meddle in our affairs during a 30-minute press conference outside of the governor's mansion. Governor Perry and Fox were forced to cut their conference short after only 2 minutes because of protesters bullhorning at the gates.
Good evening to you, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Christine Haas.
And I'm Ron Oliveira. This is KVUE News at 10. Mexican President Vicente Fox is now in Austin, arriving at the governor's mansion amid very tight security tonight. KVUE's Chris Gutierrez is live at the mansion with tonight's top story. Chris?
Ron, Mr. Fox and Governor Perry addressed the media for about 10 minutes tonight. Now, they plan on talking about issues that affect both Texas and Mexico. Things like education, water resources, expanding trade, and of course, immigration issues.
We are here because we want to strengthen our relationship both in political terms, in economic terms. We are here to be close to our paisanos, those Mexicans that diligently, with great passion, work every day to contribute to the better being of the United States, the better being of Texas, and better being of Mexico.
Tonight is about renewing old friendships. It's about spending time with our friends. It's about our being together and enjoying a friendship.
We are very enthusiastic about this visit, which we know is going to be very productive because we have many issues on the agenda that we are going to have conversations upon. I am sure it's going to be a great day tomorrow.
Now, that voice you heard yelling in the background during President Fox's speech was that of activist Alex Jones. Jones says he wants Perry to keep Mexican immigrants out of Texas because he thinks they're taking too many American jobs.
We have record immigration, illegal immigration in the history of the world. In the history of the world, we cannot assimilate this many people. And the government is teaching them to be balkanized, whether you're from Russia or China or Mexico, to control us. It's divide and conquer, and it finally destroyed the Roman Empire, and we're following that same path now.
Even after leaving office in 2006, Vicente Fox has toured the United States, calling for amnesty and North American integration.